Good morning everyone and welcome to December the 3rd. We are on day 3 of the daily Vlogmas. My plans have changed a tiny weeny bit. So my plan today was supposed to be to head off into town, pick up some bits and have a look for some stocking filler ideas and some gift ideas so that I could do a little mini gift guide for you. However, I've got a delivery coming that I was not expecting until a little bit later on in the month. So I don't really want to leave the house in case I miss that delivery. So instead, I think today I'm going to spend a little bit of time in the garden. I know it's not overly festive. I have a plant pot in the back garden that I have my little bird George buried in, and it's kind of got summer annuals in it that have died off, and I've bought some really pretty little winter cyclamen, however you want to pronounce it, to go in there. So I'd really like to get those changed over today. I've also got a little bit of clean up to do just in general in the gardens. Again, I know it's not very festive, but that's what I'm doing today, so I'm going to include it anyway. You never know, you might find it fun. And then after that, I think I'm going to come in and I'm going to get my lovely big Christmas book down that I've got in the kitchen. You will have seen that on the house tour. And I'm going to have a look through. I'm going to pull out a few recipes that I want to try. And then when I go into town tomorrow to pick up the bits for stockings and run a few errands, I can get some ingredients and we can make a couple of those recipes together, which I think could be brilliant. But also when I'm in town tomorrow, it's actually worked out really good because on Wednesdays in our town we have a little market, and on this little market there is a lovely flower stall, and this time of the year they've got Christmas trees and wreaths and things. But because they're selling Christmas trees, all of the greens that they trim off of the trees for people when they are buying the trees, they actually sell those little bits very, very cheaply, and I was looking to make a bit of a wreath so I can get some of those bits while I'm in town. So it's actually worked out really well. We're just going to have another kind of down day today, but that's fine. I'm going to get this plant pot done. I'm going to have some of these recipes pulled out, and we might try and find another couple of things to do today as well before I go to work. So I'm going to get my cozy coat on because it's really, really cold out there today. We're going to get this pot done, and then I think we're going to sit down with a lovely hot chocolate, maybe a movie, and we're going to have a look in this recipe book and see if we can pull out some nice Christmas recipes to try this year.
Okay, so this is George's little pot that sits by the deck in the back garden. I've included a little picture of George for those of you who were not about when he was still alive. He was a little Gordian finch. He was an absolute sweetheart, and he took a piece of me with him when he went. I treasured this bird like my fourth child. I know it seems daft. He's a little finch, you know, but lots of people get attached to their animals. I certainly am one of those people, and George was everything to me. He really, really was. He was the first baby bird that I had from my original pair, and he was the very last bird of all the birds that I had to pass on. So he was very special to me, and I have him in this little pot here. He's right down underneath this evergreen that's in here, so I'm not concerned about disturbing him while I'm doing this. I kept the front free because I knew I'd want to replant it. So I'm just popping in a few little miniature daffodils. I've got a little pack here that came free with an order that I got. It's a bit late to put them in. Hopefully they'll still have time to come up and flower before spring. But yeah, I've put them in here so it's got a bit of spring colour. I was thinking about putting some of my little crocus bulbs in as well, but there's not going to be space. So I decided to just go straight in with the cyclamen and pop those in, and that should be enough for now. So With the cyclamen, I've got 3 colours. I've got a red one, I've got a white one, and I've got like this mix of white and pink, which is really pretty, my favourite one. And I'm just going to scooch them in best I can and fill around them with the compost. There's nothing special going on here, just some bulbs and some cyclamen just to make this pot look nice and current and a little bit festive too. For my gorgeous little George. I miss him so much. This is a really good time of year to go and tend graves if you have loved ones who you've lost, so that you can go visit at Christmas and not have to worry about dealing with weeds and things on graves.
Okay, so I got George's pot finished. I've popped some little mini daffodils in there. I was going to put some crocus in as well, but there was not enough space. But I'm very happy with it as it is. It's looking a lot better than it was. However, it's just started to drizzle. So I've come inside. I have retreated. And I've gotten out my big old Christmas book to have a look at some recipes in here. I'm going to try and get back outside later on if the rain stops before I go to work and do a little bit more annual clear up. But I've got about 1,000 lists all around me. So I wanted to grab a few recipes out of this book to try this year, because I got this a couple of months ago and there's some really nice recipes in it, and I thought I'd go through and pick out a few of my favourites, and then next week we'll have like a baking day. That'll be one of my Vlogmas videos. Next week will be a baking day. But I sat down and I figured out my Christmas menu for Christmas Eve, Christmas Day and Boxing Day, so that I would know what kind of recipes I'm looking for in this book, because otherwise I'll end up making like 1,000 different things that just sound yummy and they won't have any kind of cohesive way of going together, and I'll end up with a bunch of wasted time, prep, money and food. So for Christmas Eve, usually on Christmas Eve for breakfast, we have like cinnamon rolls, cinnamon buns with some fresh fruit juice. So I'm going to include those on my baking day. I'm going to get them made, get them frozen, and then I can just pull them out the day before Christmas Eve and they're ready to go in the oven for Christmas Eve morning. I am unfortunately working Christmas Eve, which I'm not too thrilled about. I don't feel like anyone should have to work Christmas Eve. Just give people Christmas with their families. But hey, I'm working Christmas Eve, so I won't be back until the evening. But I should be here for breakfast. Fingers crossed, here for breakfast. Lunch, I'm just gonna let the kids kind of make themselves like some cheese toasties, beans on toast, things like that, whatever they kind of fancy out there. And then for dinner on Christmas Eve, we always have like a picky buffet. We go all out. We have a lot. So we'll have a couple of kind of hot things. We usually have some potato wedges, we have chicken skewers, we have sometimes like pizza, mini pizzas, things like that. And then we have just like all the good stuff, all like crisps, chocolate, sweets, all the naughty things that we shouldn't really be having. We have those on Christmas Eve while we watch our films. Then on Christmas Day, I usually do a fried breakfast, again with like fruit juice, just to set everybody up. We do that before we open the gifts. Then lunch, I am pushing back to kind of 3 p.m. So we'll have like breakfast, then we'll have like one main meal, and then after that we'll just kind of snack for the rest of the day. So I'm keeping it kind of traditional this year and going with roast turkey with all the trimmings. And then dinner, like I say, we'll just kind of snack, and I'll bring out like a cheese board, things like that. So we'll have, again, another kind of picky dinner, but a little bit more better, a little bit more healthy. And then on Boxing Day for breakfast, I'm not really sure what to do for breakfast yet. I'm going to ask the kids what they fancy, but I'm thinking either pancakes or crumpets or waffles or something like that, just like a light breakfast. Then for lunch we're going to have, we usually have like cold meat, so leftover turkey with like some really hot buttery mashed potato and a few veggies, and then we do like some pickles and sauces and stuff to put it with, and that's just gorgeous. And then for dinner, I'm thinking something along the lines of kind of goat cheese and onion tartlets, something like that, with just some nice fresh steamed veggies. Would be really good. We're not going to want the heavy cream. We're not going to want heavy kind of meal. I think by the end of Boxing Day we're going to be done with food. So just like some little tartlets with some fresh steamed vegetables, I think it'd be really nice. So from book, I'm trying to find out which list I wrote all my stuff on, which recipes I want to do. Where did I put it? I think I might have actually used it as a bookmark. But I've got them all bookmarked anyway. So I'll tell you what I'm going to be doing for my kind of bake off week. So I want to do some gingerbread. The reason I want to do gingerbread is because we are having a gingerbread kind of house competition we do kind of a week or so before Christmas, to get us into the festive spirit. But usually I buy the kits ready made, so it's already got the gingerbread in it. This year we're actually making them from scratch, so we're making the gingerbread ourselves, and I just want to make sure that it's going to be kind of solid enough to be structurally sound. So I'm going to do a kind of test run on the gingerbread. So I've got a recipe for the gingerbread in here. It looks gorgeous. Then the next thing I'm going to be making is orange shortbread fingers. I love shortbread. Shortbread is such a Christmassy thing, and I like the idea of having something a little bit different. So these are kind of like orange shortbread. That's going to be really, really nice. And then the next thing I've chosen out here is the cinnamon rolls, obviously, which I'm going to be making for Christmas Eve. This recipe here actually has you make your own puff pastry. No one's got time for that. I'll be buying puff pastry and just making up the cinnamon filling. But yeah, the recipe does have the method for making puff pastry, which no one's got time for. Then I'm going to make some amaretti biscuits, one of my favourite things on the whole planet, amaretti biscuits. I've never made them before, so I'll be very excited to try that and have them just in the biscuit tin for just general having with like kind of coffee and stuff like that. So I'm going to make some amaretti biscuits, and then the next thing I've got is some almond macaroons. Normally we have coconut ones, but I'm going to try some almond ones. I think they're going to come out quite a lot like the amaretti biscuits. If they do, fine, not a problem, we'll eat them. If not, I think they might be like a little softer option would be nice as well. So I'm going to make some of those. And then the last thing I've got bookmarked, ooh, my bookmark's just fallen out, bear with me, I've got to try and find where it was. Oh okay, this is not a baking thing. The last thing I have bookmarked is actually a cocktail. It's called Christmas Spirit, and it's got cranberries, clementines, sugar, cinnamon and vodka, and I thought that would be really, really nice for like a little Christmas evening little spirit. So I've added the ingredients that I need to my kind of Tesco order that's coming on Friday. It's really bulked it up, I'm not gonna lie. It's most of the time not cheaper to make things from scratch. It's often cheaper to buy them. Oh, and I'm making some cheese straws and some mince pies. Weirdly enough, there's no recipe for cheese straws in here. I thought cheese straws is about as Christmas home baking as you can get, like cheese straws, sausage rolls, things like that. They're not in here, weirdly enough. But there are some really, really good recipes in here. I think this book is definitely one that's more geared towards entertaining at Christmas. Dinner parties, party food, buffet food, things like that. There's some brilliant recipes in here though. And I still love it, and I think a lot of them can be translated into kind of meals that you can have just on special occasions rather than catering for like a huge party of people. But yeah, I'm also going to be making some cheese straws, and I'm going to be making some mince pies. I'm not making the mincemeat. I did make mincemeat 1 year and it came out really, really nicely, but it was a faff. I might make it again next year because I'm going to be making my own Christmas cakes next year. I didn't bother this year because usually we make a Christmas cake, or my husband used to make a Christmas cake, and they were gorgeous, genuinely divine. but there was so much rich food happening at Christmas with like Christmas pudding and stuff like that that nobody really ate them. So I gave it a miss this year and I didn't make a Christmas cake. I might buy, like, you know, you can get the little thin like strips of Christmas cake. I might pick up one of those in case anybody does fancy it. But yeah, I made the mincemeat off of the back of the fruit that we had for the cake already. So I've bought myself a jar of mincemeat and I'm just going to make some very, very basic mince pies. But on top, instead of doing pastry, I'm going to do like an almond meringue. I think that's going to be really nice. So I'm going to make some of those as well. That can just be shoved in the freezer and then warmed up if people come round, or if we fancy a little bit of mincemeat. So I've got my recipes sorted out, got my Christmas menu sorted out, which is a weight off my shoulders. I wasn't really sure what we were going to do for like Boxing Day. I knew what we were going to do for lunch, but dinner I couldn't really figure out. Like, do we have another day, like a third day in a row where we're having picky food? Probably not the best idea. One thing that I do in December is I stop doing Sunday dinners, like roast dinners. I don't do any in December except for Christmas Day, because you kind of look forward to it more. I think if you have a Sunday roast every single week, including December, you get to Christmas dinner and it's samey, you know, it's just, instead of chicken, you're having turkey. So I really wanted to miss roast dinners, and I already am. I actually started it a little bit earlier this year. I started kind of mid-November cutting out the Sunday dinners, and I do miss them. I'm looking forward to Christmas dinner, which is really nice. For the last few years, I've not looked forward to it. So it's going to be really lovely to have a roast dinner. Now all I've got to do is figure out what we're going to do New Year's wise for food. I feel like I want to do something a little bit special, but not crazy. I'm thinking maybe like duck would be nice. Duck in orange sauce would be nice for New Year's. And maybe gammon. So maybe like duck New Year's Eve, gammon New Year's Day. That'd be gorgeous. But that's another thing that I've got to figure out. I'm going to stop waffling now because it looks like it stopped raining. I'm going to try and get back outside, but I've got my delivery due really, really soon. And I don't know if any of you guys actually kind of film for YouTube or anything like that, but having your camera out when you know there's someone due is like a little bit embarrassing, a little bit cringy. I might just go and do the garden and not film it, because like I've already been waffling here for 12 minutes about food, and then there's George's pot, so that should make the video up to about 20 minutes, and I don't want it to be too long on a daily basis, so this might be me signing off for now. But I will take the camera out once the delivery's arrived and show you the front garden, because I'm aware that on the house tour it was too dark to film the decorations in the front garden. So I will get out there and I will film a little bit just to show you what I've got going on outside, and the window decorations as well, because I've got some lights in the window, but they're little battery powered ones. They're just not bright enough to light it up like I want it to be. So I'm going to get a new set of lights for the window. I'm going to move these ones, and then I'll be able to show you it all lit up at night time. That'd be lovely. I might get some more lights in town actually tomorrow. Add it to my list. I've got so much going on this list already. So Christmas lights. It doesn't need a big set. Just a little one should do, I think. But yeah, I'll film all that for you. So, see you in a bit.
So a quick little glimpse at the front garden and the front window. I've got my Santa in the window on his sleigh. These are just some artificial flowers that I put on top of my window box. Some snowflake shaped path lighters that are on a timer. They come on at about 3 until about 9. A little Christmas planter by the front door. My big old wreath, which I'm hopefully changing to a fresh one. And the hanging basket.